so they're going to do what we're going to do. Anyways, back to the topic of the DOGE
Let's
space.
let's talk about those.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of them getting rid of USAID and NED? I think it's amazing, for one.
Yeah.
Seems like it's gonna be good. As soon as
I
a
don't.
ball
I
of
don't think.
worms.
I
I don't think
agree. I agree with Rand Paul's take on this. Basically, foreign aid is getting taking money from the poorest people in your country, poorest people from a rich country, and giving it to the poorest people, to the richest people in a poor country. That's foreign aid.
Yeah, and there. I saw this really great take. I forgot who said it. It's a libertarian that USAID is essentially a way for the US government to do illegal shit overseas without any sort of oversight. Like, Congress does not approve it, the public doesn't approve it. It's just them giving money to a bunch of quote unquote NGOs, which could be literally a mercenary outfit for all we know, and they go do bad shit. That is what USAID is, right? It's the ability to do whatever you want with government money or taxpayer money without any sort of agreement from the public that they should be doing that. It's a mess, right? They shouldn't be doing stuff like this. And that alone, I think, is a pretty good reason not to have organizations like USAID and so many others. Like, it's not the only one, right? I've looked into a number of these organizations, and they're by far the biggest, and they're definitely the ones getting away with like a lot of the funding of, say, censorship outfits. For instance, USAID is the lead funder of Nina Jankovic, if you guys remember her, the disinformation, DHS disinformation person. They're funding her organization in the UK so that she can promote censorship of Americans. Like, that is what they're doing. Yes, it's they get away with this stuff, and not anymore, because now we're gonna make them stop. And it's funny, I had this argument yesterday with a friend of mine, and he's on the fence about USAID. He's like, well, if America's using it to get rid of dictatorships and to make the world a safer place, or more pro-America, that'd be great. And I said, have you seen the world lately? Do you think the world likes what America is doing? Do you think the world enjoys USAID? No, it's making everybody into an enemy of the United States. So it's backfiring, even with its own stated mission. It's not good at it, because these people are clowns. They're kind of like the CIA guys tried like 100 times to kill Cuban leader Fidel Castro. It only pissed off the Cubans. It didn't really do anything. It's none of this actually works. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources, and that's how useless this program is. It's only making the world a worse place. If you look at the places USAID has gone to, for instance, Afghanistan, they spent USAID money, right, to promote transgender acceptance. So, I mean, that's Afghanistan. The country is hardly, it's not liberal. And you're trying to force them to accept trans people. Excuse me. None of this works. It's a waste of money, and it pisses people off. And if anything, it made the Taliban more popular than they would have been otherwise been if it wasn't for USAID and all of that American money going to gender equality studies teachers in the American University in Kabul. This is how stupid these people are.
Yeah, and what's also crazy is that we've got USAID and NED funding the International Republican Institute, which is a McCain associated and aligned organization that is actually trying to do foreign policy, mostly autonomously from our own deep state, in fact, which is crazy. And right now, they've been trying to negotiate US Bangladesh foreign policy with the chief executive of the country, Mohammed Yunus. Very interesting stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're kind of like what is it, the European Council, right? They're not part of the EU, but they try to act like they're bigger than the EU, right? And the NED is funding organizations that are, for all intents and purposes, a deep state, because they're making deals, backroom deals with these foreign leaders and dignitaries without the sort of like express support of the U.S. government or the president, for that matter. So yeah, Trump might have some agreement with some president somewhere, and these guys go behind his back or and start talking to the opposition leaders of a foreign country, right? This is what they do. They shouldn't be doing stuff like that, and it shouldn't be taxpayer funded. If regular people want to do stuff like that, it's fine, I suppose, to an extent. Could be illegal, but they should not be using taxpayer dollars for it.
You know what's funny?
But
It is what the fuck? While the coronavirus was created, of course, as well. Did you know they paid like almost $69,000 US dollars to the Battery Dance Corporation in China? And it was specifically, the description was, and I quote, to cover the expenses of dancing to connect workshops in Wuhan.
No
Oh
way.
boy, we're losing the
Wow,
distance.
literally
We're like putting
dead.
you on me, and here we go. Holy shit.
Literally dead.
That is incredible. I love that.
So
I can't even be mad at that. Is so
did
terrible
wanna-
and so stupid. I can't even be mad about that. I don't think anyone really can be mad about that. That one's funny.
I mean,
So
this is
I
like
did want to talk a little bit to Ian's point about the deep state impact of USAID. I think that might be a little bit overblown. In my experience, it's typically some kind of grift.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying like all of the money is going towards destabilizing the world, right? It's, I would say probably 95% of it is grift, right? It's kickbacks and bullshit, right? They're using taxpayer dollars to give themselves money. That alone should be an imprisonable offense, right? There's no question there. It's corruption. But there is that 5% that does go towards destabilizing other countries. Like in Georgia, if you look at the protests that are going on right now to depose the, I would say, neutral government that is neutral to both the US and to Russia. They want to remove it, get rid of it, replace it with some stupid puppet, and she wants to put them in NATO or something, right? Like that's happening. If you actually go to the websites for the organizations that are leading the protests in Georgia, as well as Kazakhstan, by the way, and Slovakia also, you'll find that they are funded by USAID. It literally says on the websites. So it's like America is funding these, quote unquote, color revolutions, right? That these students who are grassroots, and I mean, they're incredibly well funded. Even if it's just a few $1 million, it's not that much money because these are relatively cheap countries to spend your money in. You're going to get your money's worth by by paying a few organizers, and then they set everything up. That's what's going on in these countries. So you don't need a lot of money. The funny thing about USAID is how inefficient it is. Even as I would say, that as an organization, it should just be toppled because it's extrajudicial or extra governmental. What they're doing is bad for the world. But it's actually funny how inefficient they are because they think that because they have like a budget of some, like their budget is larger than the State Department and the CIA's combined. That's how big it is, right? But they think that if they throw money at it, it's going to be more effective, but it's only about 5% as effective, right? Or 5% as efficient. Imagine if they had, someone like Elon Musk running USAID. Holy shit, the world would be such a different place. Maybe not in a good way if it wasn't Elon Musk, but if they had somebody like that, holy crap. But yeah, as it stands, it's very inefficient. It's a way for people to steal money, of course.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ian. And the fact of the matter is that our government engages in foreign interference with other nations, and then we have the gall to complain when they do it to us. And I just find it a little bit hypocritical. And we have so many of these unknown agencies that fund these left-wing Soros organizations, left-wing Soros-friendly organizations, and yes, even Open Society Foundations, which is allied directly to Soros and is a group of theirs. Rockefeller Institute, the Ford Foundation. We go into the global South countries and we just instigate the people to turn on their governments when they don't, suit our foreign policy or the views of our companies.
Or Bangladesh.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I was even saying at the beginning of letting you two up here, I want to discuss more of the regional stuff and the space in not whatever that is. right? Like I really just want to discuss the space. That's what it's about, the Afterspace. So like, did you listen to it? What were your guys' key takeaways?
Well, my key takeaway personally is that I can see Elon and the rest of the team, which people when we talk about the team, they think it's just some dudes. It's actually members of Congress and stuff, right? Who are working on this. I think it's incredibly good to see this happening. Like for years and years and years, you see other Congress people constantly talk about government waste, and they don't do anything about it, or they don't have like the gumption to create their own committee to do something, right? It always just sort of languishes and dies. Like I love Rand Paul, but he hasn't really accomplished very much when it comes to cutting government spending because he's one person, right? But with Doge, like holy shit, like they're actually doing something. So prior to Doge being put into power by Trump, everybody thought that it would just sort of languish and then die after like 7 months and not get anything done, right? But from what I can see and from what they are working on, right, it's that this is not going to stop. Like they're only going to stop when they're done, right? They're going to stop in like what is it, like 16 months or something, when everything is actually fixed and they are saving $2 trillion a year, right? That is the whole plan, and I think they can do it. I mean, listening to the space was great. It's like holy crap, yeah, they're for real. They're for real. And I think the media, like if you look at the responses right now to the space, it's from Vox and AP and all those other people. They're terrified. Like their money is drying up because they're being paid by organizations like USAID, right? So they're upset that Doge is actually doing its job.
By the way, I'm gonna have to also end this. I got a bunch of things that I need to do. It's also getting late for people in America who are the ones that are most likely listening to this, of course, because the organizer audience, sorry, are like I think about 10-20%. So yeah, I probably like want to keep this short. Actually, no, I think it's just a good note to end on. I think as we're kind of like beaten this horse to a certain extent, where it's like almost zombie horse. We don't want zombie horses. I think we discussed this in the past as well. And but yeah, man, it's great. I really like that. It was a great space. I think there will be a few more like it, especially when more results come out. And I mean, they've done a lot of work, even though this whole thing has only been in existence for like a week or so, right? It's
It's a week,
amazing,
yeah, 10 days.
Yeah.
how much has been done within that period of time by them. So great job to these guys, really cleaning stuff up. And I mean, like for me, I'm a somewhat of an international entity, of course. I think it's important, for me, for instance, like I'm an international, I do live in America, so I think it's important for people to understand what's going on there, because this means like the economics of that country affect everything else on the rest of the planet. So seeing this is actually very good, because that means whatever benefits that country is probably going to benefit anyone else around the world as well. And them cleaning things up and making things better, it's like, yes, finally there's a return to merit. And look, I think many people can agree with the fact that taking, from your own people who are not even the most fortunate and just giving it to like the most fortunate of another country, that's fucking weird, And shutting that down, I think benefits almost everyone, because grifters should not receive any fuel. They should just all frizzle out and not exist anymore. And I mean, hey, man, good job to Elon, man. It's great stuff. And I think in general,
Yeah.
the autists are taking over. Things are really good. And think about it this way, neurodivergent characters. There's something very, very fantastic. Like a neurodivergent character is one that has a very large penis, and he has that because that's where his autism is stored. And I'll end it with that. Thank you all for coming today. Probably see you tomorrow. I can't make any promises, but yeah.
You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal